Pastor Ed here with Daily Devotions for Friday, January the 19th, 2024. We've been talking all this week about that passage, which was our gospel reading this past Sunday, Mark 2, 1 through 22. Really had to do a lot about change. Jesus is healing and forgiving of the paralytic who was lowered by his friends down into the house where Jesus was teaching. The call of Levi and what that change meant in his life, and then just in general, the changes that Jesus was introducing in terms of fasting and the two little parables about the unshrunk cloth and the old and new wineskins. So the theme this week has been all about change, and of course there's been a lot of changes in our lifetimes. I came across this little piece. In the 1950s, a car cost only $1,220. Gas was only 23 cents a gallon. College tuition was a whopping $525, I'm guessing, per year. A round of golf at Pebble Beach was a couple of bucks. Not that I'm a golfer, but it's a pretty famous golf course. A bottle of Coke or a Hershey bar or a cup of coffee, 5 cents each. A stamp was 3 cents, and the annual salary for a teacher was $2,640. Still underpaid, but thankfully more than that, or they earn more than that. And a computer would cost you $500,000. That just tells you how things have changed. Here's another. It took radio 40 years to reach 50 million domestic users. It took television 14 years to reach that number, and the internet a mere 4 years. In 1969, there were only 4 primitive websites. By 1990, there were about 330,000. And today, and this goes back to 2006, so I can't even imagine, in 2006, there were already over 10 million websites. I can't imagine. It's got to have been tripled, quadrupled, even more, maybe 10 times that by now. Another way of looking at change, somebody said that, we now watch rockets and go into space and so forth. There's another, I can't remember what they're calling this, a new series of moon missions, yet it was only 120 years ago that the first airplane flew at Kitty Hawk. The first mass-produced Model T Ford came off the assembly line only 100 years ago, and yet we now have the first hybrid cars that combine gas and electricity. According to experts, it won't be too long until we purchase automobiles capable of getting 75 to 100 miles a gallon, that respond to voice commands and that automatically avoid collisions. We already have the things. We've got backup cameras, and I have these things that tell me if I want to change lanes, if I've got cars in the other lane that may be in a blind spot or something. So the world is constantly changing. Penicillin was only invented 80 years ago. And yet, since then, we've successfully implanted artificial hearts. We've made tremendous strides in cancer research, and the list goes on and on. And so the point is, our world is constantly changing. And what applies to the culture also, of course, applies to us as individuals. As time goes on, we think differently as we age. Many of us are like the man who accepted the invitation to attend his 25th high school reunion by writing, "I hope you'll recognize me. I've got the 5 B's: baldness, bifocals, bridge work, bulges, and bunions." I've got a 50th anniversary coming up. I don't know how I'll respond to that. But as Timothy Smith writes, there's one change that's more important than all the others that I've mentioned and that we're thinking about, and that is the change that Jesus Christ can bring into each of our lives. He has the desire and the ability to transform our lives completely, from being bound by sin, death, and evil to being freed from all of those things and be made righteous in his name. And it's important to remember, as it's been pointed out, that change and change for the better are two different things. So we're constantly living with change. Not all of them are good. Some of them are helpful, but obviously some are better than others. Someone else pointed out that every so often we hear people clamoring for change. Let's change the Constitution. Let's change the form of government. Let's change the Electoral College, right? We hear that one all the time. Change everything for better or for worse, whatever the specific instance might be, except we don't hear so much to change the only thing that really needs changing first, and that's the human heart and how we view success and the values that we hold dear in life. Tolstoy once wrote, "Everyone thinks of changing humanity, and nobody thinks of changing themselves." And finally, someone once said, "The past can't be changed, but the future is still in our power." Maybe not our power, but Christ's power in our lives, the Holy Spirit's power in our lives. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. So I hope you have a great day, and we'll wrap up this week of looking at Mark 2 and this whole idea of change tomorrow on Saturday. Until then, take care. Stay warm, stay safe, stay home if you can. Until tomorrow, take care. Bye.